Hi, and welcome to another edition of Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. We're joined by head coach Josh Blankenship as we break down the win against Moore. Coach, offensively, Cooper Bates was very effective on the ground. We're going to start off with the signal caller. 158 yards with 3 touchdowns, got back to his old ways. Just break it down for me because especially after the loss with Jinx, I know he was frustrated and he came out on firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I expected him to respond well. He's done a great job of that all year. It took us a little bit on offense to find something that was effective. First quarter, I think we went 3 and out or something near it. At least 2 to 3 drives to open up the game, so that was frustrating. But the guys stayed poised. Obviously, Coop stayed poised, and we found some things that were hitting, and then built on that throughout the game. And then obviously, like you said, Coop was the ringleader.
Tell me about this offense. They responded in the fact that, they saw points get up on the board, but they didn't veer away from it. They just came back and said, let's play some football.
Yeah, that was big. That hadn't always been our strong suit this year. If we didn't have momentum on our side, whatever momentum actually means, we tend to, not play our best. And this was obviously a moment with adversity staring you in the face. And we didn't flinch. And that was what we talked about all week. And we didn't anticipate going down 14-0, but going on the road, you almost treat it that way walking into the game. That was the theme of the week, was don't flinch, and the guys certainly did not do that. Defense found a way to buckle down a few times and get some stops and turnovers, and then obviously Coop and the offense finding their rhythm. They did some good stuff early to try and take away. We're very limited in our receiving core right now, but they did some good stuff to try and bracket Caleb and then press up Tayshawn and frustrated us a little bit in some of the pass game, but like I said, obviously being patient and keep pounding it with Coop and the running backs, and we found some stuff that worked.
Tell me about Deshaun Caldwell. He's kind of been the Swiss Army knife. Like, he's been on defense, he's been on offense, and now he's been playing a lot at running back. Got his first touchdown of the season that I saw. How special has he become for you? He's
one of those classic seniors that we've had this year that is invested. Fully invested. Whatever you need us to do, these guys have been willing to do it, and so he was kind of making his mark on the defensive side of the ball early in the season in the secondary. Very athletic senior, so he was in the rotation at running back, and then obviously with Cabry being out, he and Octavian forced to the front again, and then obviously Octavian had a great game as well, but Deshaun just ready to go. Great athleticism, great speed, and caught him on a screen. I know was one of his big ones. Ran the ball well. He had a big one against Jinx the week before there in the game also. So he's got that ability, and it was good to see him get in the end zone.
250 total yards of offense on the ground, 5 touchdowns, mixing in, I know 3 of them went to Bates, but there was a lot of mixture of different guys taking care of the football. You got to be impressed with that, especially heading into this playoff round.
Well, that's where we're at. It's we battled injuries all year. Up front, we probably had 8 different guys playing up front just in this game on the offensive line, and then multiple guys carrying the ball in addition to Coop. And it was just a matter of staying the course and guys being ready to go, which they've been all year long. The cliche drives me nuts, next man up, but that's what the guys have embraced, and everybody's ready to go when their number's called, and it was fun to see guys get rewarded with the win.
I know that's an old cliche, but especially the way this season's gone, because this game you got hammered with injuries, and that's something that you don't want to see, but I'm assuming the guys understand that, and they got to just step up when their name is called.
Yeah, it's gone from something you preach about to something that has been staring us in the face every week of the season. There's not a whole lot of guys that haven't had to be, called upon. There's been a lot of people that have contributed, and nothing's changed. If anything, it's increased. We're really stretched thin right now, but guys are ready to go, and guys are eager to go.
Let's take a quick timeout, Coach. We'll break down the defensive performance against Moore. You're watching Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib.
Tulsa Bone and Joint, Northeast Oklahoma's sports medicine experts. We are pleased to help you and the athletes in your life with a number of surgical and non-surgical options. Tulsa Bone and Joint is proud to serve as team orthopedist for local high schools such as Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sapulpa, Cascia Hall, and Bishop Kelly. We're also proud to be team orthopedist for FC Tulsa. Tulsa Bone and Joint, moving life forward.
Your side hustle keeps you moving. We'll help you get where you really want to go. TTCU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
And welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. We're going to continue with head coach Josh Blankenship as we break down the defensive performance against Moore. Lots of receivers were stepping up for the Lions on trying to get the ball, but you guys were able to contain them for the most part on defense.
Yep.
How was that so successful for you?
You know, that's a tough offense to defend. You know, they want to spread you out and throw it all over the field, and they do a good job of doing that. That's kind of their bread and butter. And then once they dink and dunk all over the field, very well coached also, by the way, then they run some very effective, run game even out of their 10 personnel. So good athletes on the field, particularly that number 5 was making a day for himself. And it really was one of those games where bend but don't break, keep containing them. And then we were able to get a couple of stops, force them to punt in critical moments. We were able to get a stop at the end of the game. I think Chauncey was he the one that had the interception? So a lot of guys stepping up in really big moments. Again, stretched really, really thin. We've got guys out there that are, playing both sides of the ball and giving us everything they got, and was really pleased with the way they were able to come up with the win as well.
Maverick Gardner started the game, two quick touchdowns, finished off with around 115 yards through the air, but you guys were able to slow him down. What changed?
I think, there's a little bit of us kind of feeling out how a game goes, unfortunately, to start, and that's our biggest challenge. We're talking about going into this week is not saving anything, just going in from the get-go, leaving everything out there, not waiting to see what the momentum's going to be, going out there and playing sound, aggressive football. And we already know we're traveling on the road. We know where we're playing. We've played there the last couple of years. We know we're going to get West Side officiating. So things that might be a surprise or might be adversity, we're well aware of what it's going to be in advance. So I'm hopeful and optimistic that we're going to start fast.
Injuries have been playing a factor, but in this game, it just seemed like they kept coming. And I don't expect you to break them all down, but just the response of your team to just continue to play and, probably comfort the guys that are banged up as well.
Well, I think the biggest thing is still that senior leadership that we're not going down. Kind of mentality. We keep losing guys, but Cooper Bates was determined. Our guys up front on offense were determined. Jaime Murillo on the defensive side, they were determined. They were going to put their foot down and just find a way to win the game. And I think it's the credit to their leadership. We've had injuries all year long. It wasn't a new adversity. It was a very familiar one. So I was really, really proud of those seniors that said, not on my watch. We're going to get this thing out.
You touched on the fact of Chauncey Stanford picking up an interception. Another player that played out of his mind, it seemed like, was Braden Hardiman. Tell me about his performance on the edge.
Hardiman is he's easily one of our best defenders. Sophomore, he's got a lot of potential to be able to, I think, get an opportunity to go play after high school ball. He's got all the intangibles. What I love about a good corner is you usually don't notice them. Because they've locked down the side of the field and nobody even goes their direction. So he's been one of those guys that he's been our steady corner all year long. You only notice him when there's a play comes his way, and he was able to make some big ones this past week.
How big is the defense going to have to play when we face this Norman team?
I think that's a huge challenge, and we've been talking about it. The guys are getting ready for it. They've got a quarterback that is a great improv quarterback, unbelievable athlete. He's probably better off schedule than he is, just traditional drop back. So a lot of times it looks like they do want to drop him back, set everything out into coverage, and then let him just scramble around and create, whether it's running and getting it all on his own or creating until something pops open. And then their running back's really special as well with a big offensive line. So we've definitely got our challenge at hand for the defense. But you put in a week of work and you've got an opportunity to go play in the playoffs. And I don't think we're going to take that for granted.
We're going to be joined by Hunter Martins and Christian Galvin, defensive end and a kicker. Two guys probably don't really see one another that much on the field, but they know each other very well. Yeah. What have they meant to this team?
Two seniors. Again, we talk about the leadership of that group. Hunter Martins, he's been kicking for us for a couple years. He's our steady field goal guy. He could be our kickoff guy. We trade duties with that with a sophomore that's kind of just a boomer of a leg. But Hunter's our consistent, accurate field goal guy, and he's been a steady guy for us. And then Christian is just one of those guys that has continued to develop his whole high school career, and he's that senior guy that you like to point to the young guys that, hey, maybe you're not playing a ton as a sophomore or junior, but look at some of these seniors that are giving everything they've got and are making a huge contribution, and Galvin's exactly one of those guys.
Well, Coach, let's take a quick timeout on Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. We'll be joined by those fellow Tigers and get their thoughts on their high school football career. Stay with us.
For families who like to build their wealth while staying liquid, we have flexible rate CDs to keep your funds working hard, even when you're not. First National Bank of Broken Arrow. The right balance.
At Ascension St. John, you'll find advanced heart care, brain and spine care, and personalized cancer care. And we excel just as much in the things that can't be measured. Listening more closely, caring more compassionately.
Joining me now on Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib, is defensive end Christian Galvin and kicker Hunter Martins. First off, kind of a weird combination here, defensive end and kicker. How often do you guys get to see one another on the football field as far as practice goes?
Never.
I kind of figured as much. But you guys are obviously pretty close, seniors. You've been around the game for a long time. I guess for you, put it in context, Christian, like what has the game of football meant to you?
Everything. I've played since 4th grade, and I've had a great time doing it.
And what about you, Hunter?
Man, I just recently started it out in 8th grade. Didn't get to do the INFC towards like what everybody else did, so it was kind of weird for me joining in, but I found my spot, and here we are.
So tell me about kickers, because you do all the dirty work out on the football field, and then they just come in and kick a football. I mean, do you guys ever rib one another about the lack of work kickers do? Because they do a lot of work. I'm not saying you don't, Hunter, but I mean, does that ever come up?
Yeah, a little bit. We like to tease them a little bit. Yeah.
I know for you have a brother on the band side of things, and he also kicked in our halftime special a couple weeks ago. Did you give him any pointers when he was out on the football field?
Yeah, he band would go out there and practice after we did, so I was like, hey, take a couple footballs, here's the tee, go out there, just kick a little bit. So before practice one day, he was like, hey, I'm gonna come out there and hit a few. He was originally wanting to hit it from the 20. He didn't quite have it, so I was like, play it safe, hit it from the 10. Everybody went nuts. That was cool. It was really cool to see that.
Did you see his kick go up and go in?
Yeah.
And you guys are all buddies and whatnot. I'm guessing it was a pretty cool moment for you. Playoffs, obviously, it's up a little bit now. It's different mindset and everything. How do you guys approach this week? We'll start with you, Christian.
We need to be we lock in a little bit more during playoffs because it's win or go home.
Win or go home. What about for you, Hunter?
It's kind of more of, as us seniors, it's like it could be your last. You could earn the next week, but it's what Coach Blankenship kind of tells us every day since November is they always remember November, and it's to pour out every single play because you don't know if that could be your last. Like today's might be our last padded practice. You never know. So it's 24/7. Pour it out.
Now, I know you want to go to OU. You want to go to OSU. Was there a little bit of smack talk this last week? And obviously it didn't go well for the Sooners, but how was the smack talk, Hunter?
It was pretty good, especially with like all the buds and whatever, because there's like maybe 3 or 4 of us in our group that goes for OSU and the rest goes for OU. So there was some pretty hefty like betting going on. Like Cooper had to shave his head because he lost. But me and Sam Terulli, we were huge OSU guys, and we're like going in on Sunday at practice, and we're telling them like, "Oh my God, OU, what happened?" It was really cool.
What about for you, Christian?
We were checking score. Like I was working that day, and I was checking the score every 5 minutes. And during the final 4th quarter, I just couldn't even see it anymore.
It was that frustrating for you. Okay, you've kicked for the majority of your life. What about you? Did you want to play any other position, or was it always on the defensive side? Because I know when you were younger, you probably played almost every single position.
Yes, I've played safety, linebacker, center, left guard, and I think, did I say linebacker already? And defensive end too.
What's your favorite to play?
Probably when I was a safety because I was skinnier and I felt more athletic.
Yeah, because that's the thing. People don't realize how much food you guys got to pack down. Describe a normal meal for me to get ready for the week.
I usually spend $20 or $30 when I eat out on food. And if I go to a place like Wingstop, I'll order 15 or 20 wings.
And that's with fries too, right? That's not just the wings.
No.
Do you have a slice of pie or anything with it afterwards?
No, but I like pumpkin pie.
pumpkin pie.
Yeah, my dad tries to make it like whenever I ask him.
Thanksgiving's coming around the corner. You going to
Yes.
invite Hunter and I over to the house and
please.
cook up some grub?
Absolutely.
Hunter, for you want to play in college. You kind of told me, Christian, that you love football, but you want to just focus on academics. For you, what would it mean if you got the chance to kick for the Cowboys?
Man, I don't really know how to like explain that. Like I've went on a couple game day visits with them and whatever, and it's like that atmosphere. Like it almost just feels like that's home. But I've always been growing up around Stillwater and whatever. So for that, like it would just be such an honor and a privilege to be able to go play for a school that I've always wanted to go play for, and I would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Christian, would you cheer for that future Cowboy if that came into play, or would
Only
that
him.
only? I guess just sum it up, guys. Playoff football. We know what's on the line. We win. We continue our season. Has it hit you yet, or are we just taking it minute by minute? I mean, break it down for me.
Minute by minute, because you just got to appreciate every little moment, especially during practice, because this is like your final season. You just got to cherish every moment, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like what he said. It's just you're taking it play by play, minute by minute, day by day. You're not looking towards the future too much, because then it's going to hit you all at once. You look at what's going on that week and then look at the game itself, and then if the next one happens, it happens. But you got to earn that first one to go to the next.
Guys, I love it. I appreciate you both stopping by on Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. That is Christian Galvin, defensive end, and kicker Hunter Martins.
Life happens in a hurry. Our money experts will help you keep up. T2CU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
At Ascension St. John, you'll find advanced heart care, brain, and spine care, and personalized cancer care. And we excel just as much in the things that can't be measured. Listening more closely, caring more compassionately.
And welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. We're now joined by head coach Josh Blankenship. Let's talk about this Norman team. They just came on the road to Owasso, lost, but they have some very talented receivers with Dak Knowles and Ryder Murphy, both picking up touchdowns against the Rams. What kind of challenges will they present out at receiver?
A lot of great athletes on the field on offense. Their running back and their quarterback in particular, and then some really dynamic receivers. One of which, number 9, plays both ways. Knowles, he's their best defensive player as well as safety. They're very, very, very good at improv. Very good at scrambling around and creating. And then if they want to, they've got a really big physical offensive line and a really good running back that is a phenomenal athlete. So hands are full there. So we're going to have to step up and be ready to go. Defensively, it seems like it's the same story every week. They're going to try and outnumber you in the box in every way possible, force you to throw the ball, and we're going to have to get creative in what we can find in the run game. Then we're going to have to make plays in the pass game. So not much different in what we have to get done, just a different opponent, and on the road, different place.
Their quarterback, Phoenix Murphy, he can run, he can throw, dual threat. I mean, that obviously comes in every week that it seems like on the schedule this year. But what kind of effort will he bring to the table you're gonna have to clamp down on?
Yeah, we're gonna have to contain him. If we rush past him, he's gonna see those lanes and take off. So we're going to have to be sound in caging him and keeping him from just having free reign. But it is another one of those games that it's going to probably feel a little bit more like bend but don't break, and contain it and make them keep snapping the ball and don't give up the big plays. So it's definitely going to be a challenge. The guy's special. Norman, that's kind of we've seen them the previous 2 years also, and that's kind of their philosophy is they want to be very big and physical on the offensive line, and then they want to have a cat daddy at quarterback that can create and do things on his feet, and they've certainly got that in a special one this year.
It's kind of an old school mentality, but it seems like it's going to be one in the trenches with this game against Norman.
Yeah, every week it really comes down to that. How's our front going to show up on both sides of the ball, and how are we going to compete down there?
Playoff game. It's something that we know that's coming on the schedule. It's something that we look into the future, but we try not to look too far ahead. But now that it's here, I know you're not going to change the way that you coach, but I'm assuming the message is, guys, this is it. Like, if you want to continue to play, you got to win.
I think they know that, and I think they're, with the adversity we've had this year, they're so appreciative of every win that we get. Everything has been well and hard earned. So earning this playoff spot was exactly that. It was earned, and I'm proud of the guys for doing it. They've battled through a bunch, and here we have an opportunity to not only be in the playoffs, but it's up to us to extend the season. You play or you're off, so we can go play well and extend our season with the win, or we can come clean out our lockers and pack up and move on to the next sport or whatever it is at hand. But the guys aren't taking it for granted. It's been a fun group. They appreciate every opportunity to go out and practice and get better. They've traveled well. They've prepped before games well. And then to see if we can put it all together and play well for 4 quarters plus as well on Friday, or excuse me, Thursday.
I'm glad you brought that up. Do you feel like you have another advantage for the fact that last week is a Thursday, they played on a Friday, and you 2 weeks in a row we're having the same game day?
I don't feel like I have an advantage. They probably feel maybe a little disadvantaged because they played Friday and are turning around and playing Thursday, so they've got one less recovery day. Which I would feel that way. I don't feel an advantage. If we're playing at home, maybe I would. But it's an opportunity. That's what I see. We're looking for things game plan wise that we can try to take advantage of. But the last thing in our mind is how much rest time they've had. It's Norman versus Broken Arrow.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you stopping by for Inside Tiger Football. Remember, we'll be on the call on Arrowvision at Norman. Madison Dildine on the sideline, myself and Devin Johnson up in the booth. Until next time, go Tigers.